the much awaited video where I show how these ones were a result from this one somehow. I'm going to show you how I did that. Hey, I'm Bevan Bird with AIArtGodMode.com. Okay, so we'll start with, I'm not sure if we'll start with that image. It's not set up for that yet. But what we will do is go back to, yeah, there. We have that image there. So that one was upscaled from this one here with this grid, these four. I upscaled one. Okay, we don't have to go up farther. That was a remaster, so then it uses Midjourney 5.1 instead of Midjourney version 5, which the parent would have been. Okay, so that'll show there, version 5. Oops, okay, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so here, I'm not sure which one I did. Maybe this, maybe that, right? It could have been this one. And it probably doesn't tell us that here, but what I did was remaster something. Of course, we can go back there and see though. So we'll go back here to this one, because I just went to parent, right? So we're here. This is before I clicked remaster. And then I'll just, I could open it yeah, I'll have to just open it in Discord, because then I'll see that actual post and see the buttons that were clicked under it. If I copy the job ID and then show it, then we won't get that post. We'll get a copy of the post. See, it'll make a new post. It's going to have a new link. If you go, once it does it, it will have a new link here when you do this, copy message link. So this won't be the original post. As you can see, no buttons have been clicked here. Okay, but here I went open in Discord, and that gets you this, and there it is. I've upscaled 3 and 4, and then those of course resulted. So that's 3 there, and then there's 4, and then I remastered that one. So now we know. Copy message link, right? Okay. So this one here I remastered, which resulted in, obviously not that. That's just a reference. This thing had, basically I got this style inspired by this one, and that's why I have it here. So I'm going to show you how I did that. But I didn't make this. And so you can find things like in the community feed when you're on Midjourney in the app, logged into your account, click Explore. You'll see the feed. I showed that in the other video, the previous video. Okay, so where is it? Well, I mean, we copied a link to it. I've got that. I remastered it. I guess it's here. Because once I remastered it, it gave me this result, right? That's what we got. So that's this one right here. This here, it's a URL to it, right? That's the job. This is the job ID. So if you have a job ID, you can then slot it into that template. Use that base URL, add the job ID to it, go there in your browser, and it will take you to the thing. But only if you can see it, right? But if it's your own job, then yes, you can see it. So here we are, and then I upscaled that one, right? It doesn't tell you that. Okay, now related, for some reason it's not showing other ones that I have that are related to it. It's basically showing like other people's stuff here, which is how I found this one in the first place. It was in this related section underneath something that I made, which I don't know which one that is. It's something else, right? We don't need to go in there into that. Remember I said go to Explore and check out the Midjourney community feed, and you'll find other things which you can then use as inspiration. Like look at this prompt, right? Look at all the detail in that. Okay. Right. And these things, it's very imaginative. And this also, right? So I have it there, and we could say, well, let's make like some kind of surreal painting by Dali of this, or whatever. You can do whatever you want. So I'm not sure where that um, feed is. I think it's here. Right? We go here, we click explore. So I'm looking at that now. So you can go to these different things, like the ones that are hot, ones that are rising. It's based on the like measures, right? Like people favoriting them and stuff. So some new stuff, and top should be of all time, or top in the current version of Midjourney 5 or 5.1. I'm not sure how this works because it used to be called the community showcase, and we may be able to still. I searched that and found a page, and had it pop up, and maybe it's showing version 4 stuff there. Anyway, you can go to the feed like this and find things. So top is good, and also like say hot or rising, and then you can find things to use as inspiration, like the style of it or whatever, or combine different things, or do something in a different style. So you will find lots of great stuff in all kinds of different styles, and you can also make up your own styles too, and make art depicting anything in any style you want. We'll save that as an example too. Right? Examples from others. You can just copy the stuff here. You can do like copy prompt, or copy the whole, yeah, the full command, or the prompt. The prompt would just get this part, but then it would be missing this part right here, which is also important. It depends whether you count that as being important or not, but it is, because that's what was used to generate this. The aspect ratio 9 to 18, or like 1 to 2, right? So 1 across this way and 2 down. And chaos, I think C stands for chaos and S stands for stylize, and also this is which version it is. So it does matter. So we can go copy full command and put that here with this link. Okay, so we've got that there, just so that it helps. Of course, you can save the image like that. Okay, so we'll just go back to the feed. So yeah, you can use that, and then there's other websites too, like Prompt Hero and Lexica, if you want to go outside of Midjourney, and also like just beyond, not just being limited to only Midjourney. So you can do that. But then it might be good to show the showcase too, so I'm going to give you that link now too, so just a second. Okay, so I've got a link here to the showcase top, or recent. I just googled it, but they don't call it showcase anymore. It's just like community feed instead of community showcase. So you get to it by explore, and then you can go to these different sections. So it's under community. If I go to this other stuff, it'll be different things, like accounts I follow. Well, I haven't followed accounts yet, but if you find ones in here and you like their art, because you can, like, say you just pick something, and then we go to their profile, then you can look at their art, and if you want to, you can just follow them like that, right? And then it would be in your follows, so then you could see the new stuff from certain people, and filter it by like all, or grids, or upscales. Upscales is like the finished thing. It's like once you upscale it, it's just one image. But grids is when you see all 4 or all 2. Right? It's these grids, like these kind of people and monkeys, right? Bored ape variation thing. Okay, so the grids, or all, would be mixing it together. But favorites is your own favorites. It's whatever ones you favorited, and I have some of my stuff in there, like back when I was making some king cheetahs. So there's some in there when I was trying to make it, and it was probably in Midjourney 3. Yeah, and it's showing 8 months ago too. It was quite a while back. Okay. All right. So yeah, here, showcase. See, it says community showcase. It's showing all other stuff, and it's old. This is from a long time ago. 9 months. Yeah, see. So that was on top though, and so yeah, it basically moved on and changed the name, but we're able to still go back here and see these. Like this one, for example, I actually copied some of the stuff from this prompt, right? That's just the image. How do you get to this page? You can do, you can copy the job ID and then make that link to the thing. I'll show you that, because I think that it's not so easy to get to it just by clicking here. I think it changed. Of course, we can go to that user, but it won't just be on this image. It'll be their thing. Yeah, you could save the image. So if we copy the job ID, I'll just combine it with that link, right? Midjourney.com app and jobs, right? Because that's how they all look. It all has that same format. And then that job ID. So that's all you need, because you take that part. I may have showed this in the last video or in this video. That's that base URL. You put in the job ID. That'll get you there. So that's one way to get to it, because then we're going to be on the page for that one, unless it was made private. Okay, but it wasn't. And so then you'll, at least I think, and then you'll see it there. Because I'm pretty sure I used part of the style, you can only see part of the prompt there, but that's okay too, because you can copy it, the full command or the prompt. We just looked at that. Okay, so this thing is still loading, but it'll probably work eventually. So yeah, that's just basically really old then, the showcase thing, so you can just ignore this part of the video. So this is on recent though, and it does come up to, it's still up to date, but then you're going to see the same thing as on the new one though, so you won't need it. Okay, because here on the feed, on hot, well, okay, so it doesn't say the word recent, so the word changed, or rising. So over here we had, yeah, that isn't the same, right? Because recent, you do see the ones which are in hot. I think it's the same. Okay, so that's the same ones, so that's it. So anyway, we don't need the showcase anymore, at least for the recent part, because we'll get that on the new one anyway. It won't matter. But this old stuff here that was top on the showcase a long time ago, it's just basically out of date. It doesn't get updated, because you can see that it's many months ago. It's an earlier version of Midjourney, because I remember this. I remember this thing, this fish tank. That's a building in New York City. Yeah, and it may be Midjourney version 3. Okay, so yeah, you could still see a post of those things and get the other info from it. So I'm showing that with this one, for example. It says airy pinup, and it's a fine art. It's fine art. It's an oil painting. So it's trying to load that, but it's also from a long time ago. Okay, so we may come back to that. Lexica. This is a search engine for stable diffusion. So you can search for anything. We'll just do an example with cheetahs or something, for example. And you could also search by style and stuff. Okay, so it's just like stable diffusion images. And there's another one which will also search beyond, because it's Prompt Hero, the #1 website for prompt engineering. Search millions of AI art images by models like Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, etc. See DALL-E, even ChatGPT. ChatGPT makes images too. I haven't tried that. I just used it in the text stuff. Okay, so, but I'm not maybe it will just search all of them at once, right? We'll just try it. So this way, if I put the same prompt in. Okay, so here we're searching Stable Diffusion. And you can see some images, and then if you like one of them, you can explore the style of it, and then so you'll find others. So say we go to that one there, for example. See, that's their prompt, and sometimes there's more info down here. So those are the four that were returned. Okay, so we can go explore this style, and you can just do this process iteratively. So this is cool. So here we are. So we can just pick one and keep doing that, and find art and inspiration and stuff, and learn from the prompts. You know, copy the prompt, and copy the URL. Okay, there. But there is more to it here, see, because it says negative prompt, right? Golden. So that part they negative, take it out. Oh, don't want that. Okay. So I'll just click explore this style on this. But I think it's just basically on the first. I don't know if it matters which one you're looking at when you click that button. We'd have to check that, but you can see by this thing here. So if we're on of those four, I think it's just basically the same each one. It's from that job probably, but if you go to those different four, whichever one you're looking at, and you click that explore this style, if it results in a different URL here, like a different hash there, then it is different. But it's probably all the same. It's like a job ID of that job, which included all the four images. Okay. Yeah, here. Say like this one, right? Let's try that. Explore this style. And yeah, this is, we'll just copy the prompt too first. Okay. Alright, so now we're here. So anyway, you can do that iteratively. So I'm giving you that tool. I just gave it to you. And then here on prompt hero we searched for cheetah but didn't enter the model, right? No results. Stable diffusion, we already did that because we just did that on Lexica, which is a stable diffusion search engine. And you can do stuff in this too, which I've tried. I've used it. I'm still using it a little bit, but I've used Midjourney much more. It says very few results. That's crazy. Okay, so that search engine isn't working well, right? Because there's actually a lot more than that. That's crazy, right? Okay, there might be something where we'll get, it says here all versions. I'm not sure what's going on there then. Okay, well this is what happens if you make a demo live without having tried Prompt Hero out much, or like tried one of the tools, because that's funny, right? It didn't actually have a whole bunch of stuff on it. This is one that I have used, and I used it in the way that I showed you, as well as looking through things, searching different stuff, finding them, and I've also started generating stuff with it. Okay, so Midjourney, yeah, go to explore, right? You're in the community feed, go to like hot or top or whatever, any of these things, or rising for newer ones that people are liking, and then you can just get inspiration and mix things up. Like we could take that and do it in the style of Kandinsky or like Malevich or whatever. We could change things. Like yeah, this image, right? Copy image address. Okay, imagine that. Okay, but what's the prompt though? Like what did they use with that? Okay. Oh yeah, Klimt. All right. So I guess I'm gonna say professional painting by Kandinsky. Okay, Kandinsky, depicting a space station designed by Joan Miro and Gustav Klimt. So they already combined two artists to make the thing. But notice that I haven't got the whole thing here. See, if we copy the prompt, we just get this part that I just copied, right? But if you do the full command, then you'll also have that part with the aspect ratio they had there, which was very important as well, right? And also, yeah, okay, I don't know what the Q part means right now. Okay, so we're gonna go, oh, and to get those, you can go to like a Midjourney cheat sheet or like Midjourney advanced commands. Just Google it and go to a blog post. It will show these. So full command. Yeah, that thing there. All right, so let's just do that again, like I did the first time. There. So imagine the image prompt. It's basing it on that image. That's my reference image, which is this person's art, right? But they've given permission for anyone to make remixes on it. just like we do with ours, right? So it's there. You can do that. Yeah, and then the prompt, but I've changed it and said I want it by Kandinsky. And I put in the same things like the aspect ratio. Okay, so I did say Malevich too, so we'll try that. Okay, so some abstract art. This isn't the output. This is just repeating the image that we're putting in. See, once it actually generates, we'll see it. So we'll come back to that if it hasn't done them yet. But for now, if it has them, we can look at it. And I was actually, yeah, the point of this video is to show you how I made the thing. So I guess I'll show you that. Okay, that's what it's doing there. And if you get something good, then you can upscale it, right? Or do variations. This is one that it just made, and it's almost like a pill. This is pretty interesting. Okay, so that's all I'll do on that, and we'll be able to look at it. There's more, because some of them are in progress. Okay, so let's just continue. Right? Absolutely. So we'll continue. So I figured out, remember that we upscaled like 3 and 4, and then, yeah, number 4 there, I remastered it. So now we'll continue with the story of how do we make it, and referencing the style in this one. So that's what I did, and I'll show you how. So I remastered that one, right? Let's get back to this. All right. Okay, here we are. So I remastered it, so that's there. All right, now we can continue. All right, I remastered it. What happened? I guess that resulted in this one here, because this here is a remaster of, see how it has this part here at the top? That's a link back to the one that I remastered from, or that I upscaled from, or did variations from. So this here is the link. So if you click it, you'll see we get back there. So that was the one that I remastered. Okay, you need to know that. Here it's simple because it's just the one before it, but see, you'll see that in the future, yeah, you need to know that because the post may be way down or whatever in a different place. So the link shows you which one we remastered from. So the remastered gave us this one, right? Which I probably already have here. Now we'll be able to finally go forward. So I upscaled 1 and 3. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1 is the one that we're talking about. That's what I turned into Just for Fun number 30. So this one was actually made earlier, but a variation of it did result in this, and I'll show you how. And then variations of that one turned into these daydreaming ones here, and this one with sensitive content in it. This other one is different, so I'll show how we made that, but it's not based on this thing, and you will see that. This one is, though, and you can see some similarity. You can see some similarity in it, and notice that pink hat that's pointy, right? And it's actually based on this somehow. So that's what we're doing here. So that's that one there, right? I upscaled it. That's right there. Okay. Yeah, so upscale 1. Right, upscale 1 gave us this one. And then I made variations of it. Okay, but then it's hard to track it back, but it's okay. It's hard to track it forward from here because it won't show me that, right? But that's fine because we figured it out already. Okay, so we just have to get to the thing. That's this one here. So you can see the parent, and I upscaled 1, and that gave it this. And then here, related ones. Well, it's not showing my stuff, it's just showing other people's stuff. But it is useful because that is also from something that I made. I looked here, and that's how I found this one. Okay, so then, and that's all part of this story too. So then what we do is, what I did is actually combine this one with this here, right, with this, but all I did is took the style from this one. Okay, and I'll show you how I did it. So what we have to do is go to the right one now, right? Which it doesn't appear to be open. The number 27. Okay, 27, this one. See, that's the file name, and I have the file name there, so it means I can get the job ID because it's in it, right? Oh, okay, so now we just add it there. Okay, so the one that I actually already have that, right? Because those notes that I prepared for this are already here, so we'll be able to use it. Okay, so 27, and yeah, that other one, I'll show you that too. We'll go to that one first, just because number 21, I did not use the reference image, I just put the prompt in. So you'll see the difference between the two. So yeah, I found this one. We won't go to how I found this one because I don't want to waste the time with it. But it may have been from this. Maybe I generated this one, or maybe some other one, and the Explorer related below it showed that one there. And you have a link to that, right? I'm giving you that here. It's our reference. I think we already have it here. No, but we will. Okay, Red Riding Hood. There you go. Okay, so in here, this is the prompt, right? This is the account that created it. There's the prompt and the full command, right? Copy the full command. It'll be that prompt, including, and this, right? This part here, with aspect ratio 2 to 3, 2 across, 3 down. C, chaos, I believe. S for stylize, and also image weight half, but the default image weight is a quarter. So this is doubling the image weight. The weight of the text is 1 by default. The weight of the image is a quarter. They've doubled that up, so image weight a half makes it, that's double what the default is. If you made it image weight, IW, image weight 1, then you'd be weighting the image, the input image, which is down here. They would have weighted the input image the same amount that they weighted the text. But what they did is weight the input image half whatever they're weighting the text. There's the input image, which was an image that they generated earlier, and it was in this job. If you use that, you can use that job to get to it. You can't just go show that job in your account, right? But you can go to, say, that job using the same thing, right? Midjourney, app, jobs, and the job, as we showed already. So that one had a reference image of this. You see that image here. The link of it, you can just get it from there, right? But that thing has that job ID, and that way you can see more information about it. It's going to load that page here. So on this one, this is the one we're talking about, and I was like, this is good. Look at the style and the expressiveness and the quality and the light. That's it. So now we'll go copy full prompt, full command. So the prompt and the parameters. And there was a reference image, so that was the reference image in it, but you can see it there, so it's all there in the prompt. But something I don't know is whether you take these carets off or leave them in. I don't know if that affects it, but I know that if you take the image out or leave it in or add more images or whatever, that has an effect. So I would assume that these things don't matter if they have those or don't have them, because just having the link there means that it's using it as an image. That thing is part of the prompt, and it's a reference image, and it's an image prompt. It's part of it, and it has a weight. But I think these carets just don't matter whether they're there or not. And so I've experimented with removing the image, doing variations, getting it somewhere, then removing the image, or even starting with your text prompt, but a simple one. Get an approximation of what you want, and then add in an image. Or just because the image may not work, doing it that way. Or you start it with the image, then you take it out, and then it's just using the text prompt but not the image anymore. And that has worked for me. Okay, so here we go, right? So it had this, and it's talking about, I'm like, okay, I'll learn from this, right? And here's the style. So the first paragraph describes the style, so does the last one, and the middle paragraph describes the content, like the subject, what we're depicting. So what I did to mix it is use this little silly prompt from the little pink alien. Actually, it's supposed to be a green alien, and it had like a pink dress on it. It's an image that someone else created, which I put in and said describe this thing, and it gave these prompts. It gave me like 4 or 5 prompts. I hit imagine on them. I didn't like what it was doing, and they weren't really what it was. And I picked one and then did variations of it and iterated, and that's where we got to this one. So I didn't write this prompt. It was written by the AI in Describe in Midjourney. But then I take that prompt and combine it with the style from the other one, right? That's just what I did. Okay. And we also have the input image. No, the input image won't be the Red Riding Hood, right? It'll be our thing, right? So when I did it with that one, the thing that made number 27, there's the first paragraph, there's the middle one, but that's the thing we took out. And then there's the final paragraph there. Okay. So I'm pretty sure what I did is just added the thing in there in the middle. Like that. And also we could weight it. So it was like that, because this paragraph is weighted for the text weighting. So this section weighted 4, this section weighted 4, and that section weighted 3.5. I changed it back to 4, but in his, he had it with 3.5, so he was fine-tuning it. And when I say his, I'm talking about this thing here, right? Which for some reason it's not showing anything now, but that's on a different page. This one, I don't know why it's not working. We won't worry about that though, because I think it probably worked a different time. It just isn't doing it right now, but that's fine. So here we have it, and I'm like, well, let's just kind of reuse that style, but drawing a different thing, right? So, well, this part of it describes the style, and you could argue about different things, right? And that also describes the style, but this part was talking about what it was depicting, so all I did was change that. But I didn't actually copy this part and put it in, but I just omitted that, right? That's like a mistake. Or at least it depends on what aspect ratio you want and whatever, right? The chaos part and the stylize, and which version of Midjourney even. So I didn't pay attention to that, and that's why I'm pointing that out here now, okay? Because it's a difference in what we're doing. We can then do the same thing, and I probably did a variation of the thing. Well, where is it, right? Well, I mean, we have it here, so that's good. I already have a link. So if I do variation of this one, and then put in this new prompt where we're describing the style now, just copying it, copy and paste from someone else, but we still have depict the same thing. Now it still has in here this may also affect the style, right? See, because I don't even know these artists. That right there, this, there, and I'm not sure if I changed that. See, because if I took this out, you see what I mean? Then this part here is only kind of talking about what it's showing. But, I mean, that could be style too. Whatever. They're just words. They're associated with concepts. Okay. So I'm going to copy that prompt in and put it there. So it's just taking that image that I made and did variations of it and just putting that prompt into it in the remix. So I'm changing it. Instead of this, doing this. But the version, we would want to set the version to that, which I didn't do then. Like, I think it's a couple of days ago. I did not change it to that settings, because as I was pointing out, to you here, right? I just copied the prompt, but I didn't do copy full command, which would have gotten this part, right? So I didn't pay attention to this, I think. All right, but we could do that now, and maybe we'll get something different. We probably will, of course, right? Yeah, so settings, change the version of Midjourney. I guess we'll go to now. I'll hit escape so it jumps down to the present. It's gonna do that. I may also have to scroll, but yeah, escape should take you to the present. See, I'm not seeing settings there. We're seeing that pill thing that we upscaled. Okay, well, we'll just type settings again. See, this is what it's doing, and that's kind of, it's similar to what I did last time. So I'll show you what I actually did before, and then you'll see how it resulted in the thing. But then we can just do it again in a different way now with our new example, or something like it, and we'll get something else, right? But first, I'll show you how I did it the other time. That makes more sense. Okay, so yeah, we're in Midjourney version 5.1 now. Yes, the last time I did it though, I mean like yesterday or whenever, I didn't actually have it in that version. Maybe in 5, probably. We'll see. Maybe it will show us. Okay, so let's see what happened with that. What I'll do is probably trace back from the thing, because this is the other one. So we can do that one as an aside, because with that I didn't use the image prompt. So it has the combination, and so you see the prompt I put in. I also have notes, as you see, it's quite meticulous. Like, see how I have all these notes here. So I do have the notes, so we actually have a record of how I did it as well back then. So this is the prompt I put in. I just imagined this though. It's not a variation from our cute little alien or whatever, right? It's not, it's so far back, it's like, now it's like, what, you want me to load all those things? So yeah, it'll pop up there. The other one, right? Or was it that one? Uh-oh. Yeah, I got confused. Well, this one, right? Okay. Yeah, we don't want to have so many tabs open, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so I went imagine and put this prompt in. It's based on that style. Okay, because see how it, first paragraph and the last paragraph. The middle part is cute pink flying alien and dance or whatever. And yeah, inventive character designs. But then this is what it resulted in. It's like, oh, weird. Well, that's because we've chosen different artists, right? Because the original one, notice how here I've taken out those artists, as I did here again. When I edited that thing, remember how I took them out? Well, that's what I did back then. Because the style is already described. It says right here, this artist, here another and another, and here it's like Dutch Golden Age and other things for the style. But it mentioned a few artists, so I took out the ones in there to try to keep it at the style of this thing. So now how do we know which one to go to? That was the tricky part there. Okay, so I put that in and we got this, and then I just upscaled 4. That's that one. That's how I made that one. That's very simple. Okay, see, the related or other things, like say that, I found that interesting. This is other people's stuff. Okay, but we'll leave that for now because we won't go into anything else, right? Because we'll just keep it on this. So that one there, that was how I did that one. And we said, okay, this is related. Okay, so I've put that in because this way, if you want to look at them, you've got links to. Okay, so we'll just stick with it. All right, so how do we do the other one? Well, what I will do is just go to the 27. Which one is that? I think we've already done this step though, right? 3, 8, B5. Okay, so right here, because I got the file name. Okay, there's the job ID, and then I showed it. Well, you could show it, right? I could show it. So I could go show, right, in Discord, in my private message with the chat. I can go with the bot, I can go show and put that job ID in, and then it would pop up. And I may have already done that, or maybe this link. Oh, I see. Yeah, because here we put the job ID on top of this template, this base link, right? So that gets you to where? Well, to here. But there's too many tabs, so now it's not working because of that. So we got to get rid of them. It's good because I've already loaded it there, right? Okay, so that's good because I got it earlier, but then I forgot about there's too many tabs. But now we can ignore that. It won't matter. Okay, so there you can see that's what I put in, and it. Oh. Okay, yeah, because the last paragraph is like this part here, or whatever, this part here, right? And that there. It's just combined together. There's no like new paragraph here, right? So yeah, that's what I had in it, and this one we have to trace back to see how I did it. So that's what we're doing now, and then you'll see that this thing is similar to what we got recently, right? Yeah, because we were doing it again, but the aspect ratio is different here because we specified it. And now you're seeing that as an example that does affect it. This is like a COVID gone wrong thing here with the mask. Okay, so yeah, I picked number 2 on this one. I picked 2 and upscaled it, obviously, right? Because we were just on that one, and I clicked the parent of it, and that brought us to this post. So we're going backwards in order to see how it was made. So we have to click on that. And then from this one. Okay, so because these were too weird, but it depends on what you wanted to make. Because once you pick something and do variations of it, it will go crazy. So like, why is it doing this, right? Well, because we started with this, and now you can see some similarity, right? Because it's got this blue face and blue skin, the character, and wearing pink and the big hat. And so inside there you got the pink and the blue face inside it. So it's changing from this alien into the woman because we changed the artist. See? So it has to select from the style from what we put in. And remember, I took out the other artists, but I put in these artists instead, right? So, and this. And so it's all different. And so, yeah, it resulted in this. And I did an upscale this. No, I think I just did variations of that one there. Okay, so see, the parent of this thing is that alien. There you go. So I did variations of one here. See, a variation of that, and it resulted in this thing here, this grid with these 4. And then I picked this one, I guess. Yeah. See, before, when I did this like a long time ago, many months ago, the explore related part was showing me some things that are mine. See there's that one I showed earlier or in a different video. That's where it came from. See, I put that aside like to show that's how it was found. If we're on this one, this weird stuff that we've generated here, that I generated recently, a few days ago, I guess. See, June 2nd, that's like 3 days ago. The related stuff shows you this other stuff and other weird things, right? And then you can find inspiration there too, or remix different things. Characters, you cut something out if you want, cut out that character or that fish and input it into something else, make a collage, put those things in, and make something else if you want, or just remix from a different thing, or copy part of their prompt or whatever. So then you can combine different things together. So that's just to show you that. That's where these ones here came from, which I also showed when I was saying, here's some other things that I found. See? There. Okay, it's just an example. Alright, so yeah, I think I just kind of did a variation of this one. See, if we open this in Discord, then we'll have like a post, like a thing like this, where we've got Discord in the browser and you can interact with it, and it's actually it's actually my post. You won't be able to go there and see it though, because it's my private messages, direct messages with the Midjourney bot. But you would, if you're doing it with your own stuff, then you'll be able to do what I'm doing. It's the same thing. So I can do it. So I go there, and you can then see that I did variation of 1. See? So that, as I was saying, it makes sense. So that's that one there. So we had to go backwards by clicking on parent to track it through, but now we can go forward also. I did a variation of that one, and this could be the result, but it might not be, and it probably is. This could be it here. Like this is some other one. If you click on that, you'll see which one I did it. So it's a variation of this, and I changed the prompt, right? So it's like a remix, and that's why it says that too. It's not this though, right? I think it's another one. Now I've freaking lost track of it again. But this, I see, because the one we were looking at was this one, and then there's this, but this is a variation from the alien. We just clicked that. But this is also a variation of that, but it's a remix, right? Because we click make variation, but we're in remix mode, so we can edit the prompt and see how the prompt was simple back then, and it had these artists. See? It's got like 3 artists listed in it, but I edited those out. So when I did that and changed the prompt, here, this is what the result was, and that's what we're talking about. I changed, well, yeah, we're talking about making 27. So yeah, I made it like this kind of, in this kind of way, except not with that, because I didn't have it, but it was this, and that's how I did it. So that gives you this. So then I did variations of the first one, but then did I edit the prompt again? Well, probably not. I probably left it the way it was, and get the same thing. See, I may have just left it the same and done that. So it's not this, and then here we have that. That's what it was, right? See, if you go, yeah, whatever, because we've already seen that here, and that's how we figured it out. Because this is the one that we're talking about. How did I make that? Well, here obviously I upscaled too. It's right there. But how did we get this? Well, the parent of it was this one, and which makes sense. That's what we were talking about, and I did variation of 1. So here we are, and there's this prompt, right? And if I go back, I'm back to the one which is a variation of that one. And if you look at the prompt, you can see it there, and I'm pretty sure it's the same. I didn't change it. So it resulted in this, and then I upscaled too. Okay, so we click back again, we're there, because I started with this one, because I made it, and because that's number 27, and there's my file name. So when I got the job ID out of that, I put that in there with this. As you can see here, that's the same thing. I just put that there. That's how we got to it. So this way you can track back. If you make something but you forget how you made it, you can figure it out, because you can go back to the parent and go up the family tree. So I just did that, and then I showed you it going forward. But then that one, right, that upscale to there, that one I then made variations of, right? Okay, see, now we're not on the new stuff. I mean, we're on the new stuff here. We're not back in the past. But there it is, and I upscaled too. I also made variations of it directly from here. And so then those will be here. There's the upscale of that. That's that one. But we already know about this one, because that's where it ended up being. And that's the one I called number 27. Okay, so I made variations of it, but I've also made variations of it back here, which is kind of the same thing. It's just smaller. It's before being upscaled, so it has 4 times less detail, like a quarter of the detail. So yeah, there's variations of that, or there's variations of this. Not a big deal. Not a huge difference, right? and then those result in these things, right? If we look at this thing and its variations of what? Well, if you click this link, you'll get back to what I made variations of. Well, it's of this one. See, because it was variations of something or remix, and it would have said one or the other there, right? And here you can see I've only clicked it on that one. Okay. So there they are, right? It starts to produce these. But I made multiple variations, and we find something good or whatever, or like an approximation or going in some direction, or just making them just for fun, or just for the heck of it, playing, right? Random. So now here's another. Okay, I've added in daydreaming. See? So the prompt may be the same, but then I just added that part at the beginning, so it's a remix. See, remix? Because I did variation of the thing. Which one? I'd say it would be that upscaled of 2. Like this one. Yeah, I clicked that. I made variations, but I added the prompt, right? Right, okay, so, what if we say, yeah, angel daydreaming. Okay, there. So I did something like that, right? And I just showed you that. You could see it. You could see the evidence of it here. I wrote, she's daydreaming in bliss, double exclamation mark. But because putting it at the beginning, I think, might give it more weight than putting it later. But I don't have proof of that. And then, of course, if you put parentheses, well, maybe it's not, of course, but it is a truth. If you put parentheses around something, you're emphasizing that part more. And the number of parentheses you put has an impact. So if you just put 1, that's a certain amount, and adding more of them is emphasizing it more. So you can put that around the parts of the thing. So here I upscaled the first, of course, and I did variations of the second, and that may have turned into one of the ones that we have here. Like that one, right? So this one here, see, you can see a similarity, but it's not the exact same one. Okay. Alright. So, see here, same prompt. It just says image 1, so that's when I upscaled 1. See? I clicked U1, like upscale 1 on this one. There it is. And that's how it made that one. So it's important to know how this works, because you can use these links. And if you have something you want to go back to, copy message link. You can put that in the browser. Save it somewhere, put it in a spreadsheet or in a note. Just start with a note, right? And you can put a little note in with each one. Or if you're using it in a spreadsheet, right, you can have an image in with them, like a template. So if you have, like, say like this one, I'm just opening the template as an example. So if we put that thing there, and it's this one, right? Copy message link. Okay, and like this image, or maybe I'm like, oh, that's like this one, or whatever. But in this case, it actually is all 4, so I'll just do that. There. So these aren't actually the right size for this. Okay, but they should all be the same. It's a template. Because then this way you can remember, right? Visually, the thing reminds you, and you have different ones, and you can get back to them, because you can always open these in the browser, like these here, and then do variations of them or whatever as you're building a whole collection or different variations on a theme. Okay, but we can get into that in another time, but at least I've showed you it, so you're thinking about it, or like you can use that tool if you want to, but you could also just like click favorite on something. So we don't have that here because it's a grid and there's all 4 different ones. But when you've upscaled something, then you can. You can favorite it, and then it would show up in your favorites, in your interface. Like, yeah, over here. It just, well, I saw it in Explorer when I went there. I mean, it's changing, but yeah, if this is old, we're not going to use that. But when you go to Explore, and then you see the you see things like on the feed, we don't have it open anymore, right? But we're here now. If we change it to favorites there, then it's my favorites, right? So it'll go there. But I don't know how long that'll take. And you know, doing a test one time doesn't prove anything, because it can change. You know, caching. It's when it updates and you're able to see it here. So because it wasn't like fast, then I didn't really use favorite much. Okay? Because it didn't like respond and go there right away. So then that's why I did a thing in a spreadsheet, which I showed you. And I have other ones where you'll actually see the images, but we won't go to that right now. Okay, so I guess just continuing with this thing, you saw how I started to change it, because it's like it's got the content of like the subject of what's being depicted, but I combined that with the style of this by putting that part in here. So we did that, but I made it a variation of this image, which was a remaster, and it's in version 5.1. I did a variation of it, so it's still like basing it on that image. And then you saw you saw it kind of start to morph, and that's how that happened. See how I got to there? It morphed, and so then I did variations of that one. I believe that based on that one, my 27 here, that's how I got these others, 22 through 26, and they're different. Okay, and they're based on that one. I'm pretty sure that's true. So here I'm showing you how I did it, and you can see back then, because this is on June 2nd evening. So here are these different ones, and I did variation of 2 there, and that's that upscale one there. And these are asides, like different other ones going in parallel or concurrently, right? But they're not the same one. They're based on other ones, and you probably saw that from above. So this is a variation of something, right? And I don't know if I used it, but maybe I used that one. Well, I did, because that's number 3, and I did a variation of that. And so I either just did a variation of it, or I did a remix, right, and changed the prompt when I did the variation. But I probably didn't change it at all. I probably left it the same with this. So all I was doing was selecting which ones that I was making variations of. And you gotta ignore these because it's a different thing. And then I thought it looked kind of male, right? And I was like, I just ignored it eventually, because it was making something here, but then, yeah, then I abandoned that side thing there. You may still see some of them here, but basically I abandoned it. Okay, so here's another one. It's a variation of something, right? Yeah, from that one. Remember we upscaled 1. It was out of the grid. It was number 1. It shows you that right there. That's that. I did a variation of it. I probably didn't change the prompt again at that point. It's just I kept it the same. We don't know exactly. There. So you need that link too. See? When it said jump to original message. It's because we were looking at this one, and we used this to go back to the one that it was based on, the parent. That's the same thing as that, where you're looking at something here and it has parent. That's the parent, right? So in here, in this interface, this is the parent here. That's the link to the parent. So then, yeah, it's really useful to have this, because we jump back to the original. Then we're not getting confused, right? And you can just make a link to this thing if you want to get to it. We can put that in the notes, but we don't need to. And you would just add a little note with it too, like these were variations of 1 or whatever. 1, whatever that means. That was one that we upscaled before somewhere of something above, right? But it doesn't matter. I'm just putting it there as an example that if you want to do something and bookmark it, it's very easy. Just copy a link to that one, and then you'll be able to go back to it by putting that link in your browser, just like this, right? Like what we did, and you'll have a page that's on that one. And if it jumps there and then it's like above it or below it or whatever, that's fine, because you can just get back to that one. You'll be able to find it, and you can check by getting this again to see what it is, and matching it with the URL you're on. So yeah, sometimes it will be like slightly above or below it, but it will still get you close to that thing. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. It's just extra, it's like a pro tip. Okay, here's another, it's variations of something, right? You can check. Oh, of this one, same. I just clicked on it multiple times and made some, and then we're like, look at how it's changing. Like, she's sleeping or daydreaming or whatever, but in this one, maybe she's looking down into a bassinet. So the baby's inside here, and then she's looking down into it, maybe, right? So it's like making different variations. Okay, here I did variations of 1 and 4. See, different positions or whatever, and all kinds of different parts of it are also changing too if you look at them. And you have to open it in your browser to look closer, because the image is only this big here, but the image is actually bigger than that, right? Here we go. So this is what's actually in the image. Okay, so you can see that each one is different, and different parts of it are different. There's all kinds of parts of it that are different, and so I made variations. And then you have to choose which ones to actually use, and then you could steer them differently, like change the prompt. There, perfect hand, because the hand was grotesque or whatever. There's something wrong with it, or their shoulder was wrong. Something went in the wrong direction, or the hand goes backwards or whatever. So here I added, see, perfect hand. Yeah, normally hands, but I said hand because there was only one hand in the scene. It didn't have more than one, and I just said this, and I've emphasized it. I put 3. Putting more would be more emphasis, and less would be less. So now you can see that one, that's how that one resulted. It came from here. You see where it came from, because there it is. Okay, so we're an hour in, so we'll probably have to stop it just so that the training's not too long. So you can see how I made them. I made multiple variations, and then when I looked back at them, like here, I didn't use that one, right, with the 2 heads, but you can see that I did variation of 1 and 4. Now if I thought that it was perfect, I would just hit upscale on that one, but I thought, let's make variations of it to see if it will do something differently, so similar to it but different, because of some weirdness. Like, say the shape of the body is too strange, maybe it's out of proportion, there's something, right? So I'm like, okay, this could be good, let's do variations and see if it will be more realistic than that. Okay, alright, so now you can see where you get this one. And then, is she in like a cryo chamber or something? I don't know. Are we looking in through a portal into a ship? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it's art. You can interpret, different people can interpret it however you want, so we don't have to define what it is specifically. But I upscaled number 1 from that. So yeah, this one, you can see how this one developed, because this is a variation of something, and that was from this one, when I did a variation of 3. And I pointed this out earlier. So now you see how I made it, and you click here, jump to original message, because here we clicked on that to get to the parent. So that's why we want to be able to do that. So here we are, and that's how I made that one. Upscale 1, and then it became that one. I saved it and did that. And if I edited it, then I did that too, but I don't think I did. Alright. So you see, it's just making variations of whichever ones, and you end up with a whole big family tree, right? So there's that one. Well, I upscaled 4. Well, how did we get this? Well, it's a variation of something, right? You can see how they're similar to each other. So I did variations. See, it doesn't say remix. If it did, then it's like making variations of something, but I also edited the prompt in that step, going from the parent to these. But it says variations, so I didn't edit the prompt. And here's the parent. That. So yeah, 1 or 4. So there's this one and that one. And if we go to jump to original message, if you look at that and then you look at this and you go to this one, I mean, maybe based on 4, it doesn't tell you here which one from that. Uh, yeah. So, but what if I go like this? So we get the link. You can save this image, right? But inside this, you have also the file name, which you'd get if you saved it. You would get that. But inside that, there's the job. That's the job ID of that. So if we go to app, jobs, and then that job ID, I think, then we'll see that one on the Midjourney website, like in our app, like our interface. So then you'll be able to do something else, which I'll be able to do once we get there, which is why I'm opening it. And I say that because I forgot what that was. Okay, so with this, basically because maybe we can, as it says here, it's variations of something, but was it of one or four? Well, it may have been of one, or it may have been of four, like of this or of that. But if we go here, it may actually show us that, because it may have image reference, just like back here. See this? It says there, image prompts. This was put in. There's the parent though. So it's like, what, a variation of that parent? I think so, yeah. But it has an image prompt also put in. Well, what's going to happen with this one? Not this. I'm talking about the result of it, of variations of that and that. This, how do you know which one it is? I don't know. But maybe you can find out. But I'm not having a good deal with my internet for some reason. Maybe with all the tabs. But like, I don't know if we can still do this if we close all those. If we just have this, it's probably fine. Because we probably don't need the other ones. Okay, so I'll just try it. Okay, so this one, because what I did, yeah, right, because we have this image, and I opened it, and we got the job ID, and I go to Midjourney app jobs, that job ID. So now we're on the page for that. You can see that it's the same image. Okay, so that's why the point was there, to see if we get information, but we don't. It says it's a variation of this parent, but doesn't tell you which one we picked. Well, when I was there, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I did variations of 1 and 4, and so either 1 or 4 resulted in this. And also either 1 or 4 resulted in another one. We don't know which one's which, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's strange that it basically doesn't show you, and it doesn't have image prompt here. So that would only be if I actually put an image prompt in, like that in the prompt it would have a link to an image, and there isn't one. So it's just because I did variations of 1 or 4 on that previous one that's called its parent, and that's how we got to it. And so we don't know which one, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we've tried there, but couldn't solve that. That's the upscale of one. One of them, well, it was number 4 on something, right? And that's how we made that. That's how I made that one. And so then what it's resulted in is these variations, which I've saved and added to the collection. Number 22, number 23, number 24, number 25, sensitive content, and number 26. Okay, there. And those were like all variations of 27 in some way. So this one's actually, it actually comes before those, but we won't worry about that. It doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be in order. And number 21 was not based on the image. It was not based on this thing. It was based on the prompt that generated this one, but it was not based on this image. It wasn't a variation of this. I just put the, I made the same kind of prompt like what I did to get something like this. It's just that this one is a result of variations of variations of variations of this, right? And this one is using the same prompt that I used to get something like this, or its parents, but I didn't do a variation of this one. And that might not have come out well here because of how fast I did that, because of the delay or whatever in the recording, right? It may not have captured it and been clear, but yeah, I didn't make it as a variation of this image. It was just simply imagine a certain prompt. I put that in there, and I may have showed you that earlier, so that would be good. That's why I put it here, number 21. It was just based on the prompt, like a prompt like this, but not with that part, because it was just something like this, and that gave us that. But when we did it with the reference image, we were actually making a variation of it, of this one. And so you saw that, and now you know how this turned into this through multiple steps, like maybe about 3 steps of variations, right? And then how, well, obviously I made variations of this, and that resulted in these others, but not that, because that came from a straight up prompt. And then these are something completely different, and so is this. This is something else different. Okay. All right. So of course we can go into a different one, like how I made those in a different video. But the thing that would be useful, see here we've made this. This is based on, with a different aspect ratio, we get these, right? And very nasty, really weird there, right? What about this though? Well, this is going to be really strange and crazy, right? If we go from that one. And it's silly, right? So if we do some things that are silly, and if it actually makes us actually laugh, then we'll be more creative. The creativity will be spurred by that, inspired, or increased. So these are new ones we made today, following a similar process based on what I just showed you of how I did it the first time 3 days ago. So yeah, we have new ones here. There's this weird headgear on. Okay. Right, so it's all works in progress, right? So if we just do variations of ones that have potential, like of course they all could, it just depends what you want to make, right? So I'll do variation of 2 and 4, but without changing the prompt. Okay, so if I don't want to change the prompt, we don't need to be in remix mode. We could turn that off, right? Toggle it back off, just so I don't have to click twice when I'm just hitting variation, right? But if we want to actually steer it as we're doing that, and we change the prompts on the fly, then we need to be in remix mode to do it. We basically need to, just to make it efficient. Otherwise you'd have to download images or get a link to them and put them in as an image prompt, and put the prompt in and edit it. And so it's a lot more steps. It's like what we had to do in the past before they added the remix function. So remix is great because of being able to steer them on the fly. But you can steer them just by selecting certain ones and doing variations of them, which is what I'm doing now and showing you as an example. Okay, so if you get one here that you like and you're like, that's a finished one, or it's very close to it, right? Then just hit upscale on that, because then in your user thing, right? Like looking at what you have there, then see you can filter between grids and upscales. This is like Midjourney app in your browser on your account when you're logged in. See, then you can see upscales. So my latest upscales here. And if you want to see grids, yeah, there. Now we'll be able to look at something over here, which I might have want to showed you, like something like this or that. We'll be able to look at that and see how we made it. But I restarted what I was doing with that because it's not really a superhero flying, right? It didn't really work, and that was because of what I was trying to do. The way that I did it wasn't the best way, so it didn't achieve it, but it did make some things that were interesting too. And so as a side effect, we end up with some good stuff also that we can reuse and change. Okay. And so that's how we get these. So I'll just show you those. But then what I did the next day on a group hangout Zoom with people asking me questions and helping them get started and make some art. So then I just made a simple prompt instead of the more advanced one, and without the image prompts, so that it can just try to draw what I was describing to make the superhero lady flying over the flowers, right? So we do that because all you need to do at the beginning is start with a simple description of it, and try to get an approximation of the thing. And so that's what I was doing there. So that's how we have those, and how we have these newest ones that I added to the collection last night, which are just selected ones because of the weird hands and stuff, right? There was things where it put the hand on backwards and stuff. So these ones were all right, and out of many others that had to be eliminated. And then if you make variations of certain ones, then maybe it will fix the part that's weird. Like what about this one here? It's an upscale, right? I think everything we're seeing there is upscales because we're on that mode. Okay. Right. Yeah, so this could be part of the collection, or we could just do a variation of it. See, if I want to, I could just save it, and we can go like this, like open in Discord, and then I'll have a thing like this, right? I'll be able to click there and do variations of it. Okay, so yeah, you can see upscales, recent things, and you can search on it. Okay, and you could, yeah, like say something else, or pyramid, right? We could try the pyramid. Okay. All right. That was making the money honey. Pyramid. Then we may see, yeah, there we go. So now you can see some recent ones in version 5 of Midjourney, which were based on something I did probably back in version 3 or 4, but it might have been 3 because it was so long ago. So those are some recent ones. Yeah, oh yeah, and then it goes back. There's the space, like some early experiments for the Space Babes, but it's not made yet. Okay, but then if we go back to, yeah, if we go to grids, you'll see that something else will show up here, right? Because it's not the ones that were upscaled. It's just ignoring that. So it's a whole bunch of different variations. Like here, these ones here, it's this grid of 4. And if there's something good or potential or whatever, we can upscale it or remaster. Okay, so we'll go open in Discord, like I did earlier, right? This, make variations. Are we in remix mode or not? No, we're not, see? Because we just made variations of it with the same prompt, not being able to change the prompt. And so it'll make more, and maybe it will improve it, and maybe we'll be able to see the other hand over here, or whatever. Okay, and here it's upscale number 4, and now you can see here I have negative prompt, no text, font, letters, signature, watermark. I don't want a signature because then I have to edit that out when I finish it. Like this one doesn't have one. I would just cut off the edge, that little line on the edge over there, but there's no signature. But this has this kind of thing, like a watermark or something. Sometimes it's like a painting and it has a kind of signature or something made up. Like we don't know what it is, but it's probably something made up. And in here it's got some text, so it takes a bit of editing to fix that part. And I've already put it in as a negative prompt in there. So yeah, I'll just do variations of that. So if we want to be able to change the prompts as we're doing this, we got to go back to remix mode, but then it takes longer because you got to click twice. But it gives you the option to change them, right? And here it lets you be faster because you can just do variations of whichever ones and do them quicker every time you click. So that's faster but less control because we're only steering it by choosing which ones to make variations of rather than being able to edit the prompt. So if you want to change that, just put remix mode back on and then you can. Okay, so there's the difference between grids and upscales. Okay, so why are these showing up? If we have a search for pyramid, why are those showing up? That's probably a glitch because it's showing up anything. It's just anything that's the most recent grids that I have, and it's not actually using the pyramid search. See? but now it is because I went up there and hit enter. You can hit refresh here, and you can download a whole bunch. So select like certain ones and say we want to do all these. Oh, okay, so when I did that I thought it would go from this one to that one, including this, right? But it didn't. But it does work fast though if you go like this, right? So you can pick the ones you want to download. It's whatever you've checked, and you click there and then download them. But I wouldn't do that with grids, right? I would do it with upscales. So once you select the ones that you want, then you can do that. Okay, and that's just as an example, right? And you just do that and then click this button. That's all you have to do. Okay, here we have that zip file. Like, we gotta extract that. See, inside it, it's just some files. So I just did extract here, or you could do extract to a folder, name that thing, so it's in a subfolder. So it doesn't mix with everything else in your downloads or whatever, or you move it first and then do what I just did. So there. See, so if you do it that way, it's easier and quicker to download a group of the images, and just selected ones, right? And there you can see on the edge, see on the left edge, it's got that extra pixel. It's got 1 pixel that's off along the edge. 1 or 2, right? It's got that part. And I might just trim that off. And like, see, editing this part down here in whatever language, it takes a bit because it's like replace the color that should be there, like from around it. I kind of copy it, like I use GIMP, and that's like free and open source. And then just copy, like clone. I clone from one place to another and then smudge. So if I use that, that's a way to get rid of like some little signature, which I did. And I'll show that in another video, just to make the videos much shorter. We'll try to put 1 or 2 things in each. So in order to make these kind of things, see down here, I changed this part because it had a signature in it, and I took that out and replaced it with what's behind it as an approximation. And this other one, there was something here, and you can see this leaf and stuff. See how it's smudged? It's smoothed out in there and in this area. Yeah, that's the part where it was, so I had to change that part. But then when you look at it like this, you don't really notice it much. Okay, and then this one didn't have a signature. It probably didn't have one. That was without it. But this one had, and I edited, and the other one also had it down there too. Okay, so this new one here does have some text here, and you could do the same thing there. I also cut off that edge. See, if I just edit this and select all and just go to the left once and to the left again, and then go down here and drag it and take a look at the number of pixels there, because you don't want, because if I was zoomed in up here and then I drag that over, it will change. Oh yeah, sometimes it would change both of them. It depends on your zoom, but you don't want that, because you wouldn't want it to also be cutting off the bottom too. So take a look at that other number. Yeah, so I just cut off the edge, like 2 pixels off there, and whatever. Okay, so that one there, I just added it. I just put it there like that, but this would have to be edited. So that was just an example. And I don't know if I'm going to put that one in, right? Okay. All right, yeah, so I just showed you that. So what we looked at was when you're on your account, like on your Midjourney profile, you can look at your recent grids or upscales. Oh yeah, my dad's getting cold, so I'll have to light the fire because it's like at night, and then we gotta make dinner too. So we'll just stop it. But you got a lot in this video, and if you have any questions, send them in. It's Bevan Bird with AI. It's AIArtGodMode.com. Bye for now. See you soon.